fight for number 10 Downing Street. The main rivals are the Conservative Party leader under Theresa May and Labour under Jeremy Corbyn. It's a battle fought on a shaky economic canvas. The UK's budget deficit is at $67 billion, or 2.6% of GDP, which means the government is receiving less in revenue than it's spending. The Tories want to run a surplus on both capital and revenue and promise to try to by limiting borrowing to 2% this year, while Labour wants to wipe out the deficit within 5 years by reducing day-to-day government spending. Theresa May says she wants to raise the living wage to 60% of median earnings by 2020 and says it'll allow the lowest paid to get the same benefits as the higher earners. Labour wants to raise the national minimum wage to equal their choice of the living wage, which is about $13 an hour. It also wants to cap the minimum pay for all employers to 20 times that of the lowest wage earner. The Tories want to keep tax low by raising the highest income tax threshold for those who make more than $64,000 a year, and to cut corporation tax from 20% to 17% by 2020. Labour says there'll be no increase in income tax for those who earn less than $100,000 a year, and says it will raise $24 billion by increasing corporation tax to 26%. And then there's Brexit. Theresa May has promised to be a difficult woman in the divorce proceedings with the EU.
Britain needs strong and stable government. Why now? More than ever, Britain needs strong leadership to make the most of the opportunities Brexit will bring.
But Jeremy Corbyn says a hard Brexit will be bad for everyone.
Theresa May says no deal is better than a bad deal. Let's be clear, no deal is in fact a bad deal. It is the worst of all deals.
The rivals are in their corners. June 8th is the date. Let the fight begin.
Well, for more on this, Chris Roebuck joins us now from London. He is a visiting Professor of Transformational Leadership at Cass Business School. Chris, thank you so much for joining us on Money Talks once again. Interesting quote there from Theresa May. Make the most of the opportunities Brexit will bring. That's what she's trying to do, isn't it? She's got this patriotic fervour up. Hey, help me get to the negotiation table with a strong hand, vote for me.
Yeah, that's the line she's taking. But to be perfectly honest, whether it's going to make that much difference with 27 other countries all trying to get what they want out of it as well. The election campaign here is just the classic dilemma of any group of leaders in an election, which is, look, how can we tell the people that we can give them low tax, good public services and no deficit, making the impossible possible? And what the British public are doing is they're looking at the traditional versions that they always give of this particular dilemma. Labour Party, we will increase tax a bit but improve public services. The Conservative Party will reduce tax and somehow will make public services great. And the Liberal Democrats, who probably won't get a sufficient majority to do anything really, are potentially being the most honest and saying, look, if you want good public services, and the public services in UK are not doing very well at the moment in terms of the health service and social care, the Liberal Democrats are going to pay, saying you actually have to pay for it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah,
which is what Labour used to say, right? So what has happened here? Yep. What has happened here that the Tories and Labour, not a great deal between them, really.
No, and that's what's happened over a period of time. The two have moved towards the centre on the basis that the Tories, back with Maggie Thatcher years ago, when they effectively said low tax and it doesn't really matter about the rest of it, were perceived as the ugly party, the bad party, the cruel party. The Labour Party, who were effectively saying, look, great public services, but you're all going to have to pay loads of tax. Well, nobody likes paying tax. And they both realised that in reality, those two positions probably weren't going to be the ones that got them the votes. So they've now come together more. But the problem is that they're presenting the British public with a set of possibilities. And, well, the issue is that the British public are not economic experts. So they can't look at what they're being offered and say, hang on, that doesn't quite add up. But historically, the British public are cynical, suspicious, or untrusting of politicians, so it might not even matter anyway. And to be blunt, you could say people are getting bored of the whole thing already.
Yeah, I think you could say that, Chris, but not on this show, because we're giving it airtime. Chris, I want to ask you just very briefly about the three parties. The two main contenders have no interest in returning us back in time to the pre-Brexit process. Just the Liberal Democrats, right?
Yeah. Yes. Well, the Liberal Democrats are effectively saying we will ensure that there is a referendum on the final deal. The others are saying the referendum's being held and there will be a parliamentary vote on the final deal. So effectively, the Liberal Democrats are just taking it one stage further. Yeah. You know, the bottom line is everybody is still, to some degree, blundering around in the fog because the negotiations haven't even started.
Yeah. OK, Chris, well, who knows if Britain were to be given another attempt at this referendum, how they would choose. Well, Chris Roebuck, thank you so much.